Live from Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's Nuganomics with David Toulis.
If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio. My name is David Toulis. Our argument here is love your neighbor and buy local. And we have the whimsical and wonderfully weak idea, or a set of ideas that we call Nuganomics for short, but they sound like this. Near is better than far, small is better than big, simple than complex. And down in the footnotes where the fleas fight with scimitar and javelin, you have personal is better than corporate and physical than abstract. That is the summary of provincialism, if you will. I'm trying to be a provincialist, though I'm not born that way and not reared that way, and my life experiences are not rural and agricultural. I'm trying to figure out how to be a provincialist where somehow I have the vain notion that Chattanooga and Hamilton County are the center of the whole universe, and that all things that matter start here. And therefore, if those things are true, then we have to believe that local elections matter more than federal elections, that your property assessor's interests and background and perspective, your county clerk's interests and background and perspective matter more than that of the federal president. And of course, there is a big noisy campaign going on about the federal presidency, but here in Hamilton County, we have a campaign as well for an officer that you might not know much about, and you've probably never thought about it, and you think, well, it's just the assessor's job. It really can't matter that much. I mean, it is just an administrative job. It doesn't really require a lot of discretion, a lot of fine thinking, or even a lot of fine character. But to answer that question of whether that's true or not, we've got Marty Haynes here. He is a county commissioner. He's a bachelor politician, age 56, and is in the running for the assessor of Hamilton County position. Marty, why is the assessor job kind of an overlooked position? Why is it important? How is it a difficult job that really matters, and the results of which really matter for my listener?
You're exactly right, David. It does matter to the homeowner in particular. You want to get the correct assessment. The assessor of property assesses every piece of property in Hamilton County, whether it's residential or commercial, and your taxes that you pay, your property taxes, are based off of that assessment that comes out of that office. So you want to make sure it's right. You don't want to be overcharged and the assessment be too high. You pay 25% of the value that your home is assessed.
All right, so that's kind of a fact there. The tax that my listener pays on his property is based on 25% of the valuation. So the valuation is done by the assessor's evaluators,
Staff.
right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the staff that goes out to assess the homes. Yes.
Well, how do they do their job? How is that a tricky job to do?
Well, you want square footage. Real property is included also. So if you have a home, say in the Ottawa area, and you've got 5 or 6 acres, the real property is included as well as the structure, your home. Or if you live, in a condominium downtown, in a townhome or whatever, it is based on your value of your home.
The ditch, the driveway, the trees, and
yes, the real property is included as well. So you want to get the square footage right. You want to make sure that is right. So, and we found that if you're flipping a home or whatever, you may be coming in and the home, you've bought a home for investment purposes. You want to flip it, and you've got, you're making some upgrades, but you're being, you've gutted the home, and you're paying taxes still on the previous assessment. So there are a lot of things that factor into.
Well, Marty Haynes, we know that you have a real estate background, because we're talking here just about structures and houses, but you call them homes.
Yes.
And that's because you're a realtor. Is that right?
Well, I do have a real estate license. Let's be real clear. I just got it last summer, and it was okay. it was in preparation for this race. Due to the fact that, we've all bought homes, we've all sold homes or built a home in my case. But what you want to do is, I wanted to understand more of the process and how realtors think, because they use this office on a regular basis. When they're going to sell a home or they're going to list a home, they get the value, or they get the footage from the assessor's office. That's where they get a lot of the information that they do when they're going to list your home.
Now, you're calling Marty Haynes you're a technical sales agent for a company called Porter Warner Industries. What does it's a foundry supply business that has clients all around, I guess, the South and maybe beyond. What is it you do? What does it do, and what do you do?
Porter, let's go with the broad time. I've worked in private business for 30 years, David. I've worked for three family-owned businesses. And Porter Warner Industries is owned by a wonderful gentleman by the name of Doug Warner. The Warner family has been in Chattanooga for a long time. When you think of Warner Park, the Warner family gave that property to the city of Chattanooga some 100 years ago. So again, my small business background working for them, and then also prior I'd worked for Electro Minerals out of Niagara Falls, New York. I was based here in Chattanooga, and I worked for a small company here in Chattanooga. But Porter Warner Industries foundry sales, think of old Wheelan Foundry and U.S. Pipe. Foundry sales are foundries in America. We pour metal. I mean, that's what foundries do, and we sell to them. We sell a variety of products that go into foundries, whether it be chemicals, resins, sand, a lot of different things that go into manufacturing and pouring steel. And it is here's what we're seeing in our business. And we want to stay local, but when we look at things nationally, the amount of metal that is being poured on a manufacturing basis has stayed pretty constant. It's not increasing. So that's what we're looking at as far as manufacturing.
The biggest taxpayer in Hamilton County is EPB, the Electric Power Board.
Yes,
it has a taxable assessed value of $393.4 million. What's the next biggest one?
Oh, wow.
Well, I've got the 2014 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report pages here printed out.
Volkswagen and then TVA. Utilities are taxed at a higher rate, David. They pay 55% of their value, where on your home you pay 25%. And then businesses, commercial, pay 40% based on the assessed property.
And on down the road, you've got Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is the number 5 rank according to the 2014 CAFR. It has 1.16 of the total assessed valuation. And altogether, these companies, Walmart is number 9 at $46 million, and Norfolk Southern, the railroad, at $38 million. Altogether, the taxable assessed value of several companies, including the ones we've mentioned, are $1.2 billion. And that's 14.78% of the total evaluation. So your office, if you get that job, right, Marty Haynes, would be to assess, keeping track of changes in value, the value of capital plants, right, of these businesses.
And also what goes into that is the equipment. There's a personalty tax that on equipment, just like here in your studio, David, or and if somebody's got a small business, the computers, whatever, the equipment in small businesses is what is a personalty tax that comes into play.
Is that rated by the assessor as well?
Yes. Well, you individually rate it. It used to be, and that's something that needs to be looked at, in my opinion, because there's been a lot of capital investment recently with all the manufacturing that's moved into town. We need to make sure that we are, not that we don't trust the corporate world, but we want to make sure that we're getting the value for every on all the equipment that's been invested in Chattanooga recently.
Well, my listener needs to consider this: that the assessor's office oversees the proper allocation, the proper attribution of taxes that are about 52% of the money the county spends. According to the 2014 CAFR, it was $131 million came in revenue as one of their sources of revenues for the county. Others would include business taxes at $6 million or so. Charges for services come in at $71 million. So property taxes are double the next largest fee, charges for services. What are improvements in this office that would make this work more to spread you might say, the unfairness most equally, the unfairness of taxation most equally? Well, Marty Haynes.
Yeah. When you look at the office, and I was at, we've had several forums, those of us who are running for this office, and I was asked a technical question about the office, and I didn't know, I was familiar with the term, didn't know all the details, all the ins and outs. So just like you've looked at the office online or on the budget, I went to the assessor's website for Hamilton County and really couldn't find a lot of information as far as a frequently asked questions page as to, definition for residential or commercial, or even a schedule of percentages. Most folks don't know that 25% of your value of your home is what you pay on, or a lot of folks may not know that. And when you look, if you wanted to send an email to somebody about a residential question, or somebody about a commercial question, or a personalty tax, or whatever the process is, if you want to file an appeal, those things were not listed easily. And I'm on, like most folks, I'm online a lot, and you've got several screens here running at the moment. And so when I started looking around the state at other offices or county offices of assessor, I started finding that they were more user friendly than what we are here in Hamilton County at this time.
And so you're part of your, is it part of your pitch for this office, Marty Haynes, that you'll make some tech improvements?
Yeah, you want to make
online improvements.
Yeah, what I want to do is improve the website and make it more user friendly for the taxpayer, for the homeowner. If they have questions about the office, we all get our tax bill, which comes from the trustee. We get that in October, somewhere around the end of October, I think and then you start, you have to pay your taxes by the end of February. But if you have questions about your assessed value, we need to make it more easy or easier for folks to find out. This is a government office. This is the public's office. And if they have questions, make it easier. Not everybody wants to be on a phone anymore, call in and get an answer. You can, we're used to looking for information on the internet or on a company's website.
The rate of taxation has not changed in Hamilton County since 2008 was the last increase. Is
yes,
that right?
Sir, that is correct. The county commission, which I sit on the county commission, I represent the Hickson area. We set the tax rate. The assessor's office sets the value of property. So the tax rate is still important to all of us. We all say, don't raise my taxes, but yet your assessment, your value of your home may go up and you're paying more taxes, but that has to equal out across the county. That can't be just an arbitrary increase in value.
I have a question, Marty Haynes, about this job. And when there's a reassessment, it's every 4 years. Is that correct?
That is correct.
When the reassessment is complete, the result is that the valuations, the accounting of the valuations has to be adjusted for improvements and so on. But the amount of money that comes in can't be lowered or raised, right?
Correct.
You can't have an administrative tax increase.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, that would be taxation without representation. If the assessor,
right, that seems like an extremely difficult job because you have to account if you raise the value, if you raise the tax take on, let's say, a business over here for increasing its investment, you then have to somehow apportion the reduction elsewhere. How is that even possible to do and maintain that duty of keeping the same tax revenues?
Yeah, as I interrupt you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, when you look at the county and how things have happened over the last decade or so, let's just look at that. We see the east side of the river, the Ooltewah, Appleton area. That's growing faster. There are more new homes being built there. Value of new homes usually start at a higher sale price than what they may be for, we'll say, East Ridge or for Red Bank or somewhere in that area. Or some of the older neighborhoods, like I grew up not far from where your station is here today. And, these are older, more stable homes that have, some of them been built as far back.
Can a reassessment be done without computers? I mean, this is a very complex job.
It is very complex. And the office instituted a program, a software program in 2011, I believe is when it came into play. It's called Patriot Properties. It's listed on their site now. And so, yes, the use of more and more technology is helping and does help in the office. We all do that. One thing that I would like to see added is when the appraisers are out looking at your home, is rather than handwritten paper, let's put that on a notepad, in an electronic notepad or a tablet or whatever. So we have it's easily transmitted back to the office and communication in that perspective.
If my listener objects to an appraiser coming on his property, can he force that appraiser off and demand a warrant before entry?
That's a good question. I would think yes. I mean, it's private property rights. They can probably make the assessment from the public street. I mean, they do measure maybe not specific houses, but they do want to get in a neighborhood or so. They want to measure some houses, so they could probably make your assessment for the most part sitting from the public street.
The office is larger than other offices. The assessor has a compensation and fringe benefits cost of $3 million roughly. That's about three times larger than the county clerk's office, which is $1.3 million roughly. Right. The criminal court clerk is $1.2 million roughly. Why is there more expense for the taxpayer to run your office? Why is it? How much bigger is it?
It is a very labor intensive department. But as I look at the budget, and as you just said, $3 million for personnel and benefits, and their total budget's $3.4 million in that office. That's a higher percentage. That's closing in on 80% of the total budget is personnel and benefits. County government as a whole, general government, is at about 52 to 55%, and it fluctuates.
You lost me. What does that mean?
Okay. Your total cost of your total percentage of your budget for county general, our budget is 50, we'll say 55% of the total revenue, total expenditures for county government. 55% is for personnel and benefits. In the assessor's office, it's closing in on 80% of the. So you've got
of your bill.
Yeah, so you've got a higher percentage of personnel and benefit cost in that department. As a businessman, when I look at that, why is that office running higher than other offices? Is there some way that personnel costs are always going to be?
Well, how many personnel are there?
There. Good question. There are 35 full-time employees and 4 or 5, as they call them, part-time employees.
Now, your office, the job you hope to get, Marty Haynes, as you're a county commissioner, you're a bachelor politician of Hamilton County, 56 years old, and you work full-time as in the steel foundry business in sales, and you'll resign that job if you get the assessor's job. You'll also resign the county commission post and work for, according to the 2014 CAFR for the county, for wages of about $112,000. That's a constitutional office. And yet I notice when I look at some of the corporate offices in the county, such as county mayor, all of those they're not constitutional, but they're corporate in the county. The mayor earns $154,000, the superintendent $160,000, according to the CAFR.
Right.
The coroner $178,000. You're down at this very important job at $112,000. Right. Is that enough to live on?
That is plenty to live on. That is a gracious amount, and that rate is set by the state constitution. And the number of employees allowed to the office is also set by population, set by the state constitution as well. Again, this is a constitutional office. County government as a whole is an extension of state government. I mean, that's why county government exists. I mean, we exist for public safety with the sheriff's department, education, and infrastructure. Those are our 3 main purposes.
And I know it's an odd thing because counties legally precede corporations such as the state of Tennessee, which is a corporation, and yet legally the county is an extension, as you said, a kind of a division.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Of state government. It's an odd thing.
It is. But it goes back to your opening tagline. Love your neighbor, buy local. And we are local politics is what has more impact. In this office, the assessor's office has more direct impact on your pocketbook than any other office in the county, other than if we were to raise the rate of property tax.
Is it fair to call my listener Marty Haynes, County Commissioner and assessor candidate? Is it fair to say that my listener owns property in Hamilton County or is just a holder of property? Since the county has effectively a lien on his land, he does not have a allodial title free of all external claims. What is fair to call him as taxpayer? That
is a debate that I have had very many times, that you still owe taxes. You still have property taxes. So to say you're the property owner, you may own the property, but you still, as you said, David, you still have a lien. The government has property taxes assigned.
Why is that lien there? Why is it there?
That was was set up again through the state it was set up as that was the most fair way, because in the early days, as we all know, property owners were those who voted, only property owners. So there was a lot of value placed on owning property, and
because it showed character and responsibility.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Well, okay. So you're running for office. You have how can my listener find out more about your campaign? Sure. What's your website? And do you have events coming up in the next day or two he might want to know about?
MartyHaynes.com. MartyHaynes.com. It's pretty easy to find. I was surprised that I could get that, because there's a radio DJ in Tampa, Florida, that his radio name is Marty Haynes, but I was able to get that as well. Facebook, Marty Haynes for assessor, Haynes. Pretty easy to find me there. You can contact me. I've not committed the campaign cell phone to memory, but 991-0670. 991-0670.
This is David Toulis. We are at AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, the station that covers local economy and the free markets. And we've been talking with Marty Haynes, who's running for assessor in Hamilton County. Asked him some questions about his office, why he wants to have that office, and why it's really important. And our thinking is that these offices, while they may seem dreary and kind of dull, they really are worth your attention because after all, we live here. And your vote for a dreary office such as assessor really matters more. And your interest in that work and what he does and how he accounts for his staff and his dollars matters a great deal. Your interest in what happens in Washington is far less valuable to you. Okay, so you give a lot of time listening to Trump and Bill Clinton's wife and others, and you think that that's really informative and helpful to you. But I'd say that you might be better off looking at these local candidates. Marty Haynes, thanks for joining me.
Hey, thank you, David. Enjoyed it very much.
You're hearing Marty Haynes, running for assessor of Hamilton County. My name is David Toulis. We are brought to you by Eric Pelton, the numbers guy. Eric Pelton at 622-3156. That's 622-3156.